Welcome to this explainer. Today, we aren't just looking at interesting science, we're actually uncovering the hidden operating system running beneath your entire human experience. If you've ever felt that absolute crushing weight of jet lag, relentless brain fog, or maybe a suddenly slowed metabolism, well, you've likely just been treating the symptoms. Today, we're going to expose the root cause and reveal exactly how to master the ancient invisible timing network that is literally controlling your life.
So, let's dive right into one massive, fundamental question. What invisible biological forces are shaping the quality of your life every single day? For a long time, we've been taught to view our health as this checklist of isolated habits, right? Eat this, sleep 8 hours, do some exercise. But the science reveals something completely different. It's a breathtaking, deeply interconnected biological symphony. And to truly understand this symphony, we have to uncover the operating system that's quietly running the show behind the scenes.
Section 1. The Hidden Operating System. Now, when most people hear the phrase circadian rhythm, they immediately think, oh, that's just my sleep clock. But it is so much more than that. This 24-hour cycle is an ancient evolutionary mechanism. It is the absolute foundation of your physiological resilience. It completely governs when your immune system is primed to fight, when your metabolism is optimized to burn energy, and when your cells enter deep repair modes. But here's the terrifying reality. Our modern environment is actively at war with this system.
And honestly, nowhere is this environmental war more obvious than when we travel. Think about it. When you step onto a commercial flight, you're attacking your body's biological margin from 5 different angles simultaneously. You've got circadian disruption, hypoxia, which is low oxygen, severe dehydration, circulatory stasis from sitting still, and a massive electromagnetic load. When all of these converge at once, your capacity to recover just runs out. That terrible post-flight crash you feel? Yeah, that is your cellular resilience running completely on empty. But how exactly does this disruption dismantle us? Well, let's meet the clocks themselves.
Section 2. Master and peripheral clocks. To understand this deeply interconnected system, you need to meet Zeitgeibers, which is actually German for time givers. See, your body doesn't have a mechanical watch strapped to its wrist. It relies entirely on external environmental cues to know what time it is and therefore what biological processes it needs to activate.
And here is the massive revelation. You don't just have one clock. You have a master clock in your brain called the SCN, which is synchronized primarily by light. But you also have trillions of peripheral clocks in your organs, like your gut and your liver, and those are synchronized by food. Keep this profound division of labor in your mind, because what happens when your brain and your stomach are suddenly forced into completely different time zones? The answer to that is literally life-changing.
But first, let's trace exactly how light rewires your brain in real time. It's fascinating. When light hits your eye, specialized retinal cells fire a signal straight to that master clock, the SCN, in your brain. In a fraction of a second, the SCN commands your pineal gland to suppress melatonin, and it triggers a spike in cortisol. Environmental light instantly and chemically alters your brain for daytime arousal. It really is a beautiful cascading biological mechanism.
Section 3. The Chaos of Dyssynchrony.
Okay, so this timeline exposes a profoundly misunderstood truth. Jet lag is not just being a little tired. It is a prolonged physiological trauma. On day 1, your core body temperature rhythm is entirely altered. By day 2, physical performance plummets. Days 4 and 5 show impaired heart rate variability, meaning your autonomic nervous system is actively struggling to cope. And, astonishingly, it can take anywhere from 7 to 11 days for your primary stress hormone, cortisol, to actually return to baseline. So you might feel awake after a few days, but biologically, you are very much still in recovery.
Now, this prolonged suffering is driven by a phenomenon called double dysynchronization. It's a complete biological paradox. Remember how light shifts the brain, but food shifts the organs? Well, when you travel, your eyes catch the new light, so your brain starts to adjust. But if you're eating at odd hours on the plane, your brain lands in London, while your liver and gut, they are still stranded in New York. The entire system is literally being torn apart from the inside.
And the consequences of this internal misalignment are severe, and they are immediate. Dyssynchrony completely hijacks your hormones. Ghrelin spikes, making you ravenously hungry. Leptin drops, meaning you're never actually feeling full. And your altered baseline cortisol actively suppresses your immune function. This is exactly why you crave junk food, never feel satiated, and so often get sick right after a big trip. Your hormones are sending out massive panic signals simply because your biological clocks are misaligned.
Section 4.
the gut-brain time conflict.
Here's the wild part. Even if you never step foot on an airplane, late-night snacking or eating when your biological system expects darkness creates the exact same double desynchronization as jet lag. As the National Academy of Sciences strictly warns, shifting your eating to the circadian rest phase misaligns your peripheral clocks. By doing this, you are manually inducing metabolic chaos in your own body.
And here is exactly how that chaos unfolds into serious long-term consequences. It usually starts with a glowing screen at night. That ill-timed light suppresses your melatonin, right? But your gut bacteria actually rely on that melatonin to maintain their own rhythm. So when they sense they are in the wrong time zone, it disrupts how your body processes fats, which immediately spikes systemic inflammation. And we know that chronic inflammation drives cellular aging. So actually, that late-night screen habit is a direct, silent pathway to accelerated aging.
Let me share a scientific paradox with you that completely shatters what we thought we knew about calories. Diet-induced thermogenesis is the energy your body burns just to digest your food. Studies show this calorie-burning process is significantly higher after a morning meal compared to the exact same meal in the evening, meaning the exact same plate of food yields more stored fat in the evening simply because your peripheral clocks are winding down. It turns out, when you eat is just as important as what you eat.
Section 5. Mastering your biological clocks.
So, intentional mastery of this operating system relies on something called the phase response curve. This dictates that the exact timing of a stimulus, like bright light, completely changes the biological outcome. If you blast your eyes with light at the wrong point in the curve, you will push your circadian rhythm backward, magnifying your biological chaos and worsening your jet lag exponentially. Precision here is literally everything.
But what if you could hack this system while completely unconscious? Get ready for this, because this data from a Stanford University study is absolutely astounding. They tested how well light could adjust the circadian clock by delaying sleepiness. Continuous bright light delayed sleepiness by 36 minutes. But a flashing strobe light applied through closed eyelids while the subjects were fast asleep delayed it by a massive 115 minutes. No way, right?
So, why on earth does this microscopic flash of light work so much better? It's because constant light quickly exhausts the light-sensitive pigments in your eye. But those tiny, brief dark gaps between the strobe flashes allow those pigments to continuously regenerate. This sends a massive, unrelenting signal directly to your master clock. Using this exact biology, you can literally pre-adapt your brain to New York time while you are physically asleep in California. It's a total game changer.
Section 6. The Unified Biological System. Protecting your biological margin requires an intentional defense playbook against our modern environments. It means strategic light exposure based on that phase response curve. It means aligning your meals with your master clock so your gut and your brain exist in the exact same time zone. It involves using airplane mode for what we call frequency hygiene. Every tiny choice you make, every single day, either protects or destroys your microscopic rhythms. Which leads us to this profound synthesis. Health is not a collection of separate, isolated habits. You cannot simply out-train a misaligned circadian rhythm. Health is the emergent result of deeply interconnected biological processes occurring every moment of every day. Think about it. Your light exposure alters your brain, which shifts your hormones, which talks to your gut bacteria, which regulates inflammation, which dictates exactly how fast your cells age. You are one unified, magnificent symphony. You now know the invisible forces running the machinery of your biology. You actually have the tools to manipulate the light, the timing, and the signals. So the only question left for us is, how will you synchronize your invisible biological forces today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep seeking those hidden truths of human performance, and I'll see you next time.